All right, this is very exciting. We have one of my favorite players in the National Football League joining us this week. Look at this guy, Mongo in the house, Jon Feliciano, the new center for the New York Football Giants. We have a lot to discuss on this particular program, a lot to talk about. Huge MMA fan. That's how we first met.
Mhm.
But of course, a lot going on in his life as well. Jon, I appreciate the time very much. First, can you show the viewers for a brief moment what you're wearing on this fine day? Oh my God, look at this
Yeah,
guy.
let's
Helwani.
go. Helwani, baby, we out here.
I love it. I love it. Well done. Thank you for that. That little touch right there meant a lot to me. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me on, buddy. It's good to hear from you.
Yes, great to hear from you. Great to have you on. Great to talk to you. All right, so a lot has happened. You're now with the Giants, no longer with the Bills, and I have mixed emotions here, Jon, because you're one of my favorite players. We're buddies. We love MMA. We text sometimes. We DM this and that. And it was
Mhm.
so cool to me, Jon, that I actually knew a living and breathing player on the Buffalo Bills, my lifelong favorite team since 1990.
Mhm.
You re-signed last year. I'm like, this is great. We got what, 3 more
Yep.
years of Mongo on the team, and then you leave in the offseason. Shoot straight with me. What happened here? Why aren't you on the Bills anymore?
I was fired.
Come on. How did this happen?
Nah, I mean, I think it's a combination of a bad case of injuries the last 2 seasons. There's nothing but love there. There's things happened. Um, I could have been better some places. They could have been better some places. It's there. It's a business, and it's bittersweet. But I'm super excited to be home in New York, and I'm just excited to be a Giant right now.
Okay, so there's a lot that I want to ask you about that. First of all, I see a lot of the Giant media guys, the New York guys, talk about this
Hmm.
being home for you. I know you were born on Long Island, but you rep
Hmm.
Miami. Like everything about every sports team I see you rooting for is Miami. The whole thing is Miami. Is this really home for you, or is this a nice little
Well,
storyline?
no, it's home. It was more home before college because after college, but before college, I would be in New York every spring break, every summer, every Christmas break. I have so much family up here that as soon as I signed with the Giants, my phone just boom, 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 boom. Everyone's texting me. My uncle has been a Giants fan for years. It's definitely home, but I definitely rep Miami a lot.
True or false? You actually grew up as a Jets fan.
True.
Oh
I was a
my.
big Curtis Martin, Wayne Corbett, Santana Moss, Chad Pennington, Jonathan. Like, I was a Jets guy, but that's dead, and that died when I went to Buffalo originally.
Right.
Really, when I went to Oakland, because we played them a couple times. But I'm happy to be a G man.
So going back to last season with the Bills, you say you could have done
Mm-hmm.
some things better. I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
had a lot of bad luck, right? The injuries, COVID. What
Yeah.
could you have done better in retrospect?
Um, you know,
I see you biting your tongue on me here, Jon. Come on, this is a safe
no,
space.
I'll give it to you the real. I mean, they over there they talk about they want you to be yourself, and sometimes I was a little bit too much of myself, and I could have been a little more professional, as in like yelling at a couple guys I probably shouldn't have yelled at.
Like
But
the
at the same time,
stars?
they no more
Oh,
upstairs people.
got it. Okay,
Uh,
I get it.
but it goes to both ways. I mean, they could we could, it's business, whatever. But
Mhm.
there, at the end of the day, there was no hard feelings. So when I got that call from Bean and Sean, we knew it was coming. Um, the money I was going to make and the direction I think they were deciding to go, we kind of knew it was going to happen. And that conversation was nothing but love. And I understand the business, and I definitely appreciate Buffalo for the growth that I was able to have when I was there. And who knows what happens? I'm on a 1 year deal with the Giants. If they don't extend me, who knows?
There's hope. I thought maybe
Yeah.
they wanted to part ways because you ragged on their pizza. It's a very controversial take that you had before the separate. Or at that point, did you know that you were leaving, so it was safe?
No, I already knew. I already knew
Okay.
where I was leaving. I mean, I knew when I was leaving probably when I came back and I wasn't starting.
Really?
From that on, you kind of get the sense. Whatever, it happens.
Was that tough?
Definitely, it was really tough. I gave so much to that organization, and I really embraced being in Buffalo and being a Bill. And then being buddies with Josh and all the guys. It was definitely very tough. I read a book about it, An Undefeated Mind. I started reading that probably in January because I knew it was gonna be tough. Because when you play like I play, and you really try to embrace the culture, embrace the team, it's like breaking up with the girlfriend, breaking up with having a divorce. So mentally, it was tough. January, February, March, those 3 months, not knowing, kind of knowing, but not happening then. But again, when I talked to Bean and Sean on that phone call, it was no hard feelings. We all understood the business of it. We all it was a I've never been cut before. That was my first time being cut. But it was definitely like, I wouldn't say like a normal cutting, because we were all like not laughing, but we were all in good spirits and
Really?
all understood because when you know it's coming for that long. I kind of had already started the process of grieving. So kind of when I got the call, it was kind of like a breath of fresh air, like, oh, okay, now we can move on to the next step.
That book that you mentioned, what did you learn from it? I'm not familiar with it, but what did you learn, and why did you feel like it was necessary to read that in that moment?
I took some notes.
Oh, wow.
Just because
And who
I'm very
recommended it to
into.
you?
I'm pretty sure I probably saw it on like the JRE podcast or something.
Mm-hmm.
So there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 main things that I took from the book, which was articulate your life's mission, turning poison into medicine, endure pain, conquer fear, and gain inspiration from others who gain an undefeated mind. Just because I knew the toll it was going to take on me mentally. Just because when I was there, Buffalo's a special place in that it's not everywhere where linemen, D linemen or O linemen get embraced like that, like in the city. You know what I'm saying? Like Kyle was the man out there. Lorenzo, when I got there, there's always like they appreciate the big man, and I kind of saw myself as when Lorenzo left, trying to step into that role to be the fat man in charge out there. So I knew that it was a tough thing. I'd never been cut before. I prided myself on that. And I knew it was coming. I know myself, and I wanted to make sure mentally I was all right.
I think you were hospitalized, correct, due to the COVID battle. How bad was it?
Yeah. So Saturday, I felt fine. Went to bed around like 10:30, and then 1 o'clock rolled around. And I was like bad. I was sweating. I had really bad back pain for some reason, like real bad pain. I was like in the shower, like curled up, like just with water. I was like trying to just gut through it. And then like 5:30 rolls around, and I'm like, all right, we play out one. So I'm like messaging Nate Bresky, who's our head athletic trainer. And he's sleeping. He's not getting the messages. So like around 6, I was like, forget, like I can't take it anymore. I had to call him, and I was like, dude, like I'm effed up. Like I just need to like get some fluids and maybe get like something to take the pain away. Because at that time I was like, I'm going to play this game, especially because coming off of an injury, they didn't put me back in right away. So I was like I'm not missing this game. So then he was like, it was like 7 o'clock around this time, and he was like, why don't you just go to the hospital, get a bag of IV, and still trying to make the game. So, because I would go to the stadium, but the IV people don't get to the stadium until like 10. So I was like, if I can get IVs and maybe get like a 2-3 hour nap in, I'll be ready to go. But then, I got to the hospital and the pain is just really bad. And classic, sick feeling. And then they're like, we're going to have to test you. And I was like, damn, I was hoping, we could kind of bypass that. We pull some strings or something. But yeah, I got the test and came back positive. And then, I was out, maybe like 20 minutes after that. I didn't stay in the hospital too long.
Okay.
But I went to the hospital so I can like get some fluids and try to make this game.
If you don't, I mean, hindsight 2020, all that stuff, but if you don't get COVID, do you think you're still on the Bills?
Yeah, probably, potentially. Because I mean, yeah, I think so.
That's a crazy thing. And I know everyone's had to deal with it. I mean, the team in like in many respects, I felt like was at the epicenter of all of it with the stuff with Cole. Internally, did it create any sort of drama within the team? I mean, it seemed like a lot of noise, and I saw you would always have his back, and other players on the team would have his back, and I know you're very close to him. But there was a lot of drama and stuff that players don't usually have to deal with, very personal stuff. It almost felt uncomfortable to read this stuff, right? Like, I don't know if you've gotten your flu shot, and I don't really care if you got it, let alone that stuff. But it became such a big deal, and especially about the Bills. Internally, what did it do to the locker room?
Speaking of bees, when Worlds Collide, his album just dropped.
That's right.
Get it? It's great. But
you gonna
honestly,
bring him for the Giants?
I'm trying. We're trying, but our cap is pretty tight cap right now. Honestly, no. Like in the building, nothing changed. I mean, we're honestly like I know like they try to make it into a bigger thing than it was, but honestly, nothing changed within. Even when Jerry had his, he said his stance about it. There was never any like combativeness inside the locker room. In the locker room, you can actually like talk, say your piece, say what you want, listen to him, and like everything. Nothing's like you can still be cool. You know what I'm saying? Jerry and Jerry's wife and Bees' wife, they're super cool. Like their families are really good, like real cool. Like they're both from Texas. They both had that Texas connection. There was never anything within the locker room that caused rifts concerning COVID.
And I promise I'm not only going to ask you about the Bills, but I just have a few more questions about.
I get it. That's your peeps. That's your peeps.
Man.
I'm here for you.
I appreciate that. Could I just say one of my favorite Feliciano Bills moments, and you might think this is weird, but it's the reason why I'm such a fan of yours and why I grew up loving guys like Charles Oakley in basketball. That game against the Chiefs 2 years ago when, Josh is on the...
Cost me $20K. Yeah.
Damn, $20K. You come out of nowhere, but you had your guys back. Like you freaking sprinted over there to have your guy back. That cost you $20K. Did you pay for it, or did Josh pick up the check?
No, I paid for it. I didn't ask him. I didn't ask him to.
What about you like makes you want to do that? Why do you do that, knowing that there's going to be repercussions, right?
Honestly, I wish I wouldn't.
Really, it's not worth it.
I wouldn't say that. I like watching the clip over and over.
It is a great clip.
You're on Instagram and you're flipping through stories and then you see. I'm like, oh, that's me. I think it goes back to what I was saying before, and like just embracing being a Buffalo Bill, and which I'm going to do here, being a Giant. Same thing. No one's going to touch Daniel like that. It was just like. It was a cheap shot. I get it. Like you were happy you had a sack. But I play the game the right way. I feel like there's only one way I know how to play the game. And if I'm not playing like that, I don't believe I'm as good of a player.
Speaking of Josh, it seemed like you guys had a great relationship, still do have a great relationship. I remember the video when you were hurt and he's bringing you a glass of wine, I believe.
Yeah.
Can you tell me?
My buddy.
Yeah, like what is he like as a teammate, and how would you describe your relationship with him?
Um, if when you're like 9 or 10 and you have like your best friend and you guys just silly all the time, pushing each other and just doing all the little boy things. That's what Josh is. He's like a 10-year-old trapped in a man's body. Uh, he is. He makes the dread of the season. Week whatever. There's always like a week 9 to whatever. Like there's
Right.
always like that grind part of the season where Josh always shines in making you laugh. Or I don't know if you can tell, but I'm very grumpy in the morning.
Okay.
Like 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 this
All right.
from like 6 to like whenever after individual is when we get into team stuff, then I'm happy. But Josh would just always just try to mess with me and just make me laugh, and I would be like so mad in the morning, and then I would get him back and like walkthroughs or something. But he's just a fun dude to be around. You want to play for him because he just doesn't care about his body. On Sundays or Mondays he'd walk in just like limping, like beat up, but like every week he's out there just giving it his all and throwing his body around and doing stupid stuff that is amazing that that we get nervous about, and then he does it and you're just like, yeah, let's go. But yeah, he's a great dude. I love him.
I'm assuming you've talked since you left the team. Did
Hmm.
he reach out to you? Did he say anything to you that you can share about, your departure?
Yeah, I mean he was sad. It's he knew I had his back, even if that made me stick out a little bit. Um,
And I'm trying
I
to
would
read between the lines here, but what you're saying,
I
uh,
would say things that needed to be said that would help the team ultimately. And
okay. Can you elaborate on
uh,
that?
no,
Okay, fair enough. I had to ask.
uh,
But in your opinion, it was
um,
for the greater good of the team.
hmm
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. And like I said before, I don't think there's any ill will on either side. It's just a business. I was making X amount of dollars this year, potentially, which would have been this year.
Hmm.
And didn't stay healthy. Um, it happens.
How do you feel about the fact that you can sign a long-term deal in the NFL, but then they can cut you? Like, it actually reminds me a bit of like MMA. MMA, you could sign a
Hmm.
6-fight deal and everyone's celebrating, but then you lose one fight and then they can cut you.
Hmm.
They can cut you, but you can't leave, right? Like you couldn't
Yeah,
call the Bills and say, I'm out, but they can do that to you. Is that
yeah.
fair? Should that change?
I feel like it's starting to change a little bit, especially the last like year or two. Uh, I feel like how in the NBA players get whatever they want because it's a player living league.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like the NFL is going in that way with social media helps that a lot. You see guys like Buddy from the 49ers or K1 taking all his Instagram stuff out. I think the players are starting to get a little more power in that sense. But like, yeah, like if a coach gets fired, he still gets his money.
Yeah.
So it would be nice. It would be nice if the players got that. But I also understand the other way because there's 53 players for 46 on Sundays, 60 whatever on a team. It's kind of harder when NBA. I think there's like 15 guys, so there's a lot more guys. That's a lot more money to go around. But there should be some give and take from each side. I feel like.
Knowing that it was probably coming to an end in January,
Mhm.
can you describe how you felt in Kansas City? I mean, heartbreak. I don't even know if I'm over it, to be honest. But because you probably wanted to be more involved, and maybe the run is coming to an end for you, I would imagine maybe a mix of emotions. Can you describe how you felt in the locker room after the game?
Um, I mean, to be honest, I was like, I don't know if I mean, I was definitely like sad for my player, my teammates. Um, I did what I can on the sideline. I don't like. I was coaching up people. I was every time Gabe scored, I was on his hip. I was like, I'm there for you. But I mean, I can't lie. There was a part of me that wasn't like, oh, y'all got what you deserved. Because I feel like I would have been. Honestly, when you look back at that game, there wasn't. It was like they were playing football, and there wasn't no like. Everyone was just going through the motions, as in like not like there wasn't anyone like challenging, like in the face of the KC's defense, or like there was no attitude out there. I feel like, and I feel like that's what I bring, and I feel like potentially if there was that, it wouldn't have been such a close game. But who knows? I might be wrong.
Sure. No, I understand. You have confidence in yourself. I've heard
Mm-hmm.
some stories that like the kickoff, the 13 seconds left kickoff was actually a mistake, that it was not supposed to go into the end zone. It was supposed to be a squib, but I guess the play didn't get to the kickoff team. Is that true?
Uh, honestly, I'm not sure. I'm not like if I knew, I would tell you. But honestly,
Yeah.
I'm not like at that point. Um, I was definitely like celebrating with Josh, and we're talking. We're at that point. We're like talking with like amongst the old line, like and all this other stuff. So I wasn't. I'm not sure about that one.
I believe in my heart, you guys win that game, you're winning the Super Bowl. There was no chance you're losing to Cincinnati at home, and then Rams get out
It's
of here.
that would have been such a hard game for Cincinnati to come into Buffalo with the crowd would have been insane. It would have been a night game, hopefully, or
Hmm.
potentially. That's a hard place to play that late in the season with that fan base and that quarterback. But
What's your?
let's be honest. Josh makes that thing go.
Oh my God! I mean
Josh is
that
one.
game against New England the week before was one of the greatest performances I've ever seen on a football field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's outrageous. And like to even when he's dealing with injuries, like he's out there, you would never know. Like he had a bad injury after that Tampa Bay game, on his like ankle or heel or something, and I forgot who we played after that, but he went off and like acted like there was nothing wrong, and he had a pretty substantial injury. And that's what he does. And that guy, I wish him the best, and he makes that thing go.
Your job, in essence, is to protect the quarterback, and boiling it down to its simplest form. Not to name names, but throughout your career as a football player, have you ever had to protect someone that you didn't like you thought this guy was a bit of an a-hole? And does it make things a lot more enjoyable when you actually genuinely like the guy that you have to protect?
Um, no, I've had pretty great quarterbacks. Like,
Okay, so you've never had a guy that you're like, I
uh,
don't really like this guy, and I wouldn't mind if he actually gets sacked a few times.
no,
Okay.
no, they're usually pretty good guys. I'm trying to think. Derek's a great guy. You can't say nothing bad about Derek. Josh is Josh. Daniel's a good dude. Um, um, I mean, not that he wasn't a bad dude, but like my second year with Oakland, going Derek broke his ankle right before the playoffs, and then we played in Houston, and we had Connor Cook at the quarterback, and we were like, you know what I'm saying? He's out of the league now. No disrespect to Connor.
Sure, sure.
He's a good dude, but it wasn't Derek. I think we would have had a pretty good chance that year too. That with Oakland, if Derek didn't get hurt.
What is your favorite memory as a Bill? Favorite game, favorite performance?
Um, Probably when I came back from my pec injury, 2020, the game against the Patriots when I played center. Uh, I think I moved in. I think Mitch got had. I don't remember if I started at center or Mitch got hurt and I went into center. Um, but it was just like the emotion of, I mean, dudes when they tear their pec, sometimes they miss the whole season. And thanks to Joe Mika, trainer out there, who really and Joe Collins, those two guys out there that really did everything they could to help me get back that quick, and then they come back and have a significant role in winning the game. I mean, I was in tears at the end of the game. I was like bawling in the locker room.
Wow, that is amazing. When the news came out that you were leaving, I think
Mm-hmm.
everyone was like, "Oh, he's definitely going to the Giants." Dayball's there, Bobby Johnson's there. It just seemed
Mm-hmm.
like the natural move. Did you even talk to anyone else?
I did. But it's a funny story that our last offensive meeting after we lost to the Chiefs, I don't I don't remember if Dave's had already taken the job or it was like he was going to get another interview for the job. But I already knew that I was most likely going to get cut. So in passing, I was like, "Hey, Dave's, it'll be a lot easier to run your offense with the center that knows what he's doing." And he just laughed and like kept going. And then
Okay.
turns out that I'm here. But yeah, there was other interest, but there was a lot of interest at guard. Um, but Dave's and OG Bobby Johnson, he they knew what I can do at center, and they're pretty adamant about me going to be able to play center here.
It seems like that's
So
a
it was
big
it was
thing for
kind of a
you.
no brainer. Yeah,
Why is playing center so important to you right now at this point?
just because honestly, it's been my best position forever. But when I was in Oakland, they had Rodney Hudson, who been the best center in the league for the last 5-6 years. And then when I signed with Buffalo, like no one see me play. Like Bobby knew because Bobby was in Oakland with me, but I only played center with Oakland in that playoff game that I was talking about, the Texans, and I only played like maybe a quarter, and then Rodney came back. They see me play a lot of guard. I played left guard and right guard in Oakland, so that film was what helped me get to Buffalo along with Bobby. Um, and then that same year they signed Mitch, who's a great guy, good center. Um, and they money. I think he was the highest paid center at one point. Um, so like I just get plugged in at guard, which, like you were saying, like the way I play the game helps me, and is why I'm usually on the field. And I'm a lot better right guard than I am left guard, so that was another reason why I didn't want to really, that split between me and Buffalo was good for me and good for them as well. And being able to play center, which I consider myself very smart, football wise. So dissecting a defense, making the mic point, changing protections, like all that crap gets me up in the morning. That's what I'm so like. I haven't had this much fun playing. I know it's only OTAs and we haven't done much, but I'm having a blast out here right now. Just being able to really lead the room in Buffalo. There was kind of like no one really knew who the leader was. There was, everyone was trying to between, usually the center is the leader. So we had that, like we're like, okay, Mitch might be the leader. I was trying to lead, and then Dion was another guy. So here, being able to have clarity and have the final say in things because I'm the center, it's been great.
Can you describe the vibes right now that you're experiencing? Because as you said, OTA is starting.
Mm-hmm.
You're the new kid, but you know the O-line coach, you know the head coach. I mean, you've gone to
Yeah.
war with these guys. I've seen you talk
Mm-hmm.
about Dayball like FaceTiming you almost every day just to
Mm-hmm.
chat. So it seems like you have a great relationship. So it's like you're the new kid on the block, but you have an intimate relationship with the
Yeah.
important player. So what are you experiencing right now? New teammates, right? New quarterback,
Yeah.
new
It's
setting, but
been
you know these guys.
it's been like great. Like I'm not even gonna lie. Like I'm not even trying to stay up here and just say it because I'm on the team. But honestly, with Bobby as well, like Bobby, he's been able to truly be himself out here, and it's been great around here. Like the O line room has been great. It's been fun to sit back and kind of watch Dayball be a head coach
Hmm.
because sometimes when guys become head coaches from being a coordinator, they switch up and they try to act like someone they coached before or like a head coach that they coached under before. And honestly, Dave's has been great, man. It's been fun out here. We've been having a lot of fun. He's been talking a lot of trash as he does. He hasn't changed, and that's really refreshing. And I think we're building a culture out here that is similar. I feel like we are. If I can really like give a good picture, I think when I first went to Buffalo in 2019, I feel like that's kind of where we are right now as the Giants. 2019, I think we signed 6 O linemen at Buffalo, and we did the same thing here. And I think Daniel's similar to Josh, maybe not as athletic, but definitely arm talent is up there. And I feel like he just needs some time.
Your story, Jon, you don't need me to tell you this, is quite inspiring. It's incredible that you're even in the NFL and have had thus far a very successful career in the NFL, went to the University of Miami, graduated, had a great career there as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, you were born with a foot deformity, and you
Yeah,
had
but
to
I
wear
don't really remember that much. I guess I was a little bow-legged, and I had to wear these like braces where that like straighten my leg out a little bit.
sort of like Forrest Gump, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
And your mom, I read, would have to like massage your feet and had great faith that you would get, like they told, apparently the doctor told her you wouldn't play sports or wouldn't be, incredibly athletic, you wouldn't be able to
Hmm.
run properly. That's incredible. How old were you when you got over that?
Honestly, I didn't even know that was even a thing until that came out. Then they told my mom. I didn't even realize.
She kept it from you?
Um, I guess it might have been when I was a lot younger. So you don't really remember stuff when you're like 1 or 2.
Mhm.
But yeah, man, it's been a hell of a ride. It's definitely like I pride myself in still being here. A lot of my former teammates, like in college and stuff, who I thought were better, like in different positions or like got more notoriety or whatever. Uh, to still be here and outlasting some of the guys, it feels good.
And I hope you don't mind me bringing up a bit of your past, but your story is
Hmm.
really something else, and I've gone to learn more about it. So you grow up
Hmm.
in New York until you're 10. Your parents get divorced. Your mom,
So I
uh,
was 3. My parents
3.
got divorced when I was 3. Yeah,
Oh,
then I
wow.
moved
Okay.
down to South Florida. I moved to Miami. I spent um, good 7 years bouncing around in South Miami. Then I moved up to Broward County when I was in 5th grade. So I
Uh,
was like 10.
those early days in Miami, those days in South
Hmm.
Florida, fair to say they were tough on the family?
Yeah, definitely. Well, yes, and then no. My mom had a pretty good boyfriend then, who really kind of things didn't really start feeling weird until like 5th grade when my mom and her then boyfriend broke up, and then we moved out of the house. We spent like a month living. I was living on the floor, like in my mom's friend's house. Wasn't going to school, and then we moved out to Davie, Florida. Got a trailer out there, and then everything was pretty normal again until uh, high school. And then my mom worked at a nightclub, um, so money was never really. We never really had a lot of money. Um, and then around 10th grade, our trailer was deemed condemned for some reason. Um, and then my mom and my older brother uh, left and moved in. My mom moved in with my grandparents in New York, and my little brother was in New York already with my dad, and my older brother, I'm pretty sure, went to New York, or he went to like Michigan just to grow weed for some reason. Um, and my dad was always like, since I was young, my dad always like tried to get me to move up to New York, but I was just hell bent on becoming a Miami Hurricane, and I knew they. I was like, I only started playing football in 9th grade. I wasn't like a big name athlete, like a big name prospect, and I was like, I need to stay down here to if I want to go to Miami. So from like 10th grade to like the summer before 12th grade, I was just bouncing around different homes. My then girlfriend, Alexis Van Ostrand, their family was really great to me, clothing me and feeding me and giving me a place to sleep. And my best friend who's passed, his family, Sean Cole, his family is. That's where I spent most of my time, just sleeping in his room on a little twin bed on the floor. Uh, it was like that for a good year and a half. But I honestly, I thought it was normal. I didn't realize that wasn't out of the norm. So yeah, I was basically homeless for a year and a half. As well, like I have a really big, like really strong connection with my high school and just Davie, Florida, and the whole, because they in high school they would slip me a Publix gift card to go get food.
Wow.
My basketball coach Steve Todd and my football coach Rashad West, like those guys, I just immersed myself into sports, so I was at school all the time. So like when I went home or went to where I was staying, it was like they would feed me dinner, and then I would go to take a shower and go to sleep, and then just wake up and do the whole thing again. Keep your head down and keep just grind.
And sometimes you would even go back to that condemned home.
Yeah,
It's no electricity, no water.
yeah.
Why?
Just I felt like a burden. My buddy's trailer was literally like if I stood up, my head would be like this, like
Wow.
grazing it. My head like duck and they weren't well off. My buddy's mom worked with my mom for a while, and then like they were a single family home, or they're like his dad and mom were divorced too, and they didn't have that much money, and I just felt bad. I didn't want to feel like a burden to people.
And basketball was your first love, not football.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of
Yes,
basketball
definitely.
player were you?
Great.
Yeah,
Just like the Miami Heat.
that's right. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I see the Heat tweets and they're in the Eastern Conference Finals, and some way, somehow, they always seem to figure it out. Like the Heat don't know how to
Pat Riley,
rebuild.
baby. Pat
Pat the
Riley,
Rat, Pat the
the
Rat. That's what we
Godfather.
call him here in New
Uh,
York. No, but it's cool. Listen, Heat culture, it's such a great thing. Everyone talks about Heat culture. Meanwhile, the fans don't
it's
show up
real
until the second quarter. What's up with these fans?
because there's like a club in the stadium. There's a club. There's like gourmet food out in the back. Like they're there. They're just making their way
They're
to the
just,
seats.
yeah, they're just slowly but surely. But that, like when you were seventh grade, eighth grade, the dream was to play in the NBA, not the NFL, right?
Kind of. I was like, I would say younger. So I played basketball on like AU from like kindergarten to fifth grade. My mom's boyfriend was the coach, so I would like
Nice.
get to go do sports. And then when we moved to Davie, my mom worked at night, so she wasn't really around to take me to like practice or do anything. Um, so then we started playing football in the trailer parks, and I fell in love with football, especially when I got fat, when I got pretty big. I was like, all right, I can still ball, I can still go to the Y and play some basketball. But then I felt before my mom and her boyfriend broke up, he had took me to a Canes game, and it was they played Washington. It was like after Washington broke their 50, or I think it was 56 game win streak at home. So it was like the grudge match, and they scored like 60 on them. I think Washington scored like 3 or something, and being in the stands and watching the Canes run out the smoke and watching I think Sean Taylor and Ed Reed and all those guys out there ball. Uh, I fell in love with football that moment, and from that moment on, it was like I want to be a Hurricane.
Is it true that the Hurricanes didn't show you a lot of love, and then one day you and your high school coach went to a spring game, and like again, talk about inspiration. He literally like guided you to go where the bus was, and you had a tape, and you just passed it off to one of the coaches. Like that's what you had to do to get them to notice you.
Yeah, to be fair, no one really was really looking at me.
No
Like
one showed you
my high
love.
school,
Okay.
yeah, no, like my high school wasn't. They're a lot better now, but then we weren't like we were stuck with getting beat up by St. Thomas all the time, and we weren't like really good. But yeah, so we went to the spring game, and we were in the stands, and you can see like on the field where all their high name prospects were, and everyone's like getting love. And we're like, all right, after the spring game, we're just gonna run on the field and see what we can do. And then they wouldn't let us on the field, so I was like all sad, like a crying puppy dog, like sad face. And my coach, as we were walking to the car, my coach is like, Coach West was like, I have an idea, and like he like knew where the buses were, so we went over to by the buses and we just waited. Thomas Robinson, I always remember what he said, because he looked me up and down and was like, well, you got the frame for it or something. And so we handed him my tape, and then about a week goes by, you don't hear anything. And then like probably like 10 days after, I had a call from Coach Stoutland, and like, oh, we want you to come for unofficial, blah blah blah. So we set up the unofficial. I didn't even need an unofficial. Like, I already knew I was going to commit. So we set up the unofficial. We go there, and then meet Coach Shannon. Great time. Get home, and then they call me when I get home, and they're like, "Hey, we're going to offer you blah blah blah." And I was like, "All right, cool. I commit." And then they're like, "Oh, you don't want to like take time and like ask your mom or anything?" And I was like, "Hey, Mom, I'm committed in Miami." And
And
they're
that was
like,
it.
"All right," and that was it.
At that point, was Miami the dream, like the end of the dream, or did you think you could make it to the NFL?
No, it was the end of the dream. Like, I remember my first year, I got redshirted, and I was on the practice squad or whatever they call it in college. And I was getting my face blasted in. I was like, Olivier Vernon was kicking my butt. Regis, Marcus Forston, or I forgot his last name. But anyways, I was getting my face beat in, and I was like, damn, like at least I'll get a good education. But I was almost ready to quit too, and I was like talking to Coach Stoutland, and they just like, they're like, buddy, it's just growing pains. Like, this is what happens. Like, and then going into that, after the first year I was redshirted, going into that summer, I just kind of worked my balls off, and ended up starting like the second at right tackle, the second week of my redshirt freshman year against Ohio State, which was great because my older brother, was a big Ohio State fan, and I hated them.
Mm.
And then to be able to go out and then beat them, I was on cloud nine.
And we don't have to get into your whole family history, but you're glossing over a lot of stuff that I think people should know. Your mom's a two-time cancer survivor. Is she okay
Mm-hmm.
now?
Unfortunately, we don't have a great relationship.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but she's okay right now.
Your father, former MTA bus driver,
Mm-hmm.
does he live in the area? Do you have a relationship with him?
Yeah, he's like, me and him are like best friends.
Okay.
Growing up, in a family that got divorced, it's it happens. Mothers hate the fathers. They talk down or bad about the guy, and he was always so far, being in New York, and honestly, my dad is. We have similar like attitudes. He's very just like no BS, borderline grumpy, but once you get to know him, like, he's just a funny little a-hole. So me and him really like best friends.
Your younger brother,
Mm-hmm.
born deaf.
Chris, yeah,
How is he doing now?
he's good. He's bouncing around, staying with my mom, just being a kid. He
Okay.
needs to grow up, but he's me and him are really tight.
And then you mentioned your older brother who was
Mm-hmm.
the Ohio State fan. You had a bit of
Mm-hmm.
a tough relationship growing up. Like, I think he was very physical towards you, to put it
Yeah,
mildly.
yeah.
Are you guys cool now?
No,
Okay.
no, we don't really talk that much.
All right.
Haven't really talked to him in like 6, 7 years.
Okay. Wow. I'm sorry to hear that. And I don't mean to bring up all this
No, you're good.
family stuff,
You're good.
but
I mean, people need to realize, like, people like just because you make it in the league or whatnot, like, she ain't always like sunshine and rainbows. People people sometimes they want to take advantage of you, especially
Mhm.
now because you got like a little bit of money. And people expect a lot of things from you, and if you don't do exactly what they want you to do, then you're a piece of shit, So my, I did a good job of, family to me is not always just blood. I have a really tight group of friends, and my dad, and good family members. But blood, I feel like, can only take you so far sometimes.
Because you endured those hardships as a kid and now you're in the
Hmm.
NFL, like you said, you have a little bit of money. Do you even remember what it was like? Like, does that seem so far away, having to sleep in a condemned home with no electricity, no water? Do you remind yourself of that constantly so that you don't forget what that struggle was like? How do you, because now I would imagine life is completely different than what it was like when you were in high school in terms of the,
Hmm.
the stuff that you have, the security that you have.
Hmm.
Um, are you constantly reminding yourself to, remain humble because of where you came from?
Um,
Or maybe I'm reminding you.
no, there's definitely, I definitely try not to remember some things.
Okay.
Um, but definitely, you can't forget. I feel like I can't forget where I came from because it was so, I don't want to say traumatic, but it was just so there.
Mm.
Um, so going back to that book, that definitely, I definitely people, I've definitely dealt with like depression, anxiety, all that stuff, and it had a lot to do with mommy issues and older brother issues. That I'm happy to say that I feel like I've put that stuff behind me in the last year or two, especially dealing with the death of my best friend, Sean Cole, who I was living with and who knew everything, who I could always talk to and not feel judged or whatnot. Let me put you on. Let me get this charger so I don't lose
Okay.
you.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's hard. It's hard to. I can't forget where I came
Yeah, and your best friend, as you said, Sean passed away in a car accident. You named your daughter after him, which is an incredible tribute. You mentioned the anxiety and the depression? Did you ever speak to a therapist? Do you still speak to a therapist? Is this something that you ever considered?
from. I definitely considered it. Um, to be fair, I had a really few years ago, really big um, psilocybin trip, which was able to put a lot of things to bed for me. I feel
Uh,
like kind of
is that like with
which
ayahuasca and all that stuff?
mushrooms.
Mushrooms. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm a really big advocate, and there's a company called Maps who is trying to legalize basically mushrooms, and they just talk about the the benefits of
Hmm.
trips and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, losing Sean was definitely uh, my biggest thing I had to get over.
So that gave you clarity, that trip?
Hmm. Yeah, I
Wow.
feel like it kind of. I mean, it was over a you know process a few years ago that you know I was definitely a little suicidal. I was definitely like doing things that was just trying to like me and my wife had always had a great relationship, but I would do stupid things to kind of like break that up because I didn't feel like I deserved like happiness or deserve a
Wow.
family like I have right now. Um, and just honestly, I feel like I started reading 3 years ago, and reading like self help books like The Undefeated Mind. Um, I feel like that's what helped me get through my stuff. Not saying that meeting with a therapist wouldn't have been beneficial, But I felt like, I'm really to myself. Don't really like to talk to people. Don't really, especially about feelings and stuff.
Right.
Uh, so I kind of took it upon myself to kind of get through my stuff.
These feelings that you experienced, suicidal, the stuff with your wife, was
Hmm.
this while you were in the NFL already?
Oh yeah, that's honestly when I know it's not like sounds crazy, but that's honestly when that was the height of it. That was like kind of in Oakland. That's kind of when it started. Just like the realization of I got money. I'm in the NFL. Why am I not happy?
Hmm.
Like why? And I did like it was just I was like just keeping everything down. And then when I got to basically I was keeping it down. Like okay, once you get to the league, once you get money, everything's gonna be great. And then when I got there and things aren't great, family stuff is getting harder. Um, then I lose my best friend a year and like in my second year, and that's when it kind of I was a mess.
How far did you go? Like how bad did it get?
Um, I mean, it was like when I knew like I was really messed up was like I was sitting with my buddy at his like apartment, and it was like 3 stories high, and I was like for some reason like I couldn't like in the back of my mind there was just like something whispering in my head like you can jump off, like you can jump off right now, be over. And then like I was like that really scared me.
Do NFL teams have people in place that can help players dealing with this stuff? Like, do you
Hmm.
feel did you take advantage of that at all?
I did. I met with a psychiatrist once when I was in Oakland, and that was very beneficial. And it wasn't, I didn't open up to her like this. It was more like a me and my wife kind of thing. My wife
Mhm.
dealt slash deals with anxiety. So it was more like she was going there to talk to them, and then something happened in our relationship that I needed to go and talk with them, and that was I feel like was very beneficial.
Yet you only went once.
Yeah, I know. I'm a yeah.
But big step that you did that nonetheless. By the way, now you have
Hmm.
you obviously you're still with your wife. You guys are good, right?
Yeah, yep, great, yep.
How many kids do you have?
Two. I have a son that just turned 2, and my daughter turns 5 in like 2 weeks.
And will they move with you to New Jersey?
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
Like right now, they're not with me, so I'm like commuting every like Thursday. I get back to Fort Lauderdale, and those 4 days without them is really it really sucks. So yeah, there's no way they're staying. They're coming back with me.
And I'll let you go in a moment, but we have to talk about your love of MMA. That's how
Hmm.
we first sort of connected. And in fact, a lot of people might not know this. I believe you went to high school with Miguel Baeza, right?
Hmm. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, that's my guy. I know.
what's
I've
up
been
with
to.
Miguel? It's a tough run. He was looking so good. He's fought some tough dudes, and the last fight was
I
a tough one as well. Andre Fialho.
I think it's all mental for him. He is just. I try to tell him all the time, like bro, like every like his first loss, he's just always like apologizing to everybody. Like, I'm so sorry I let you guys down. I'm sorry. Like, but I'm like, bro, like, fuck saying sorry to us. Like,
Yeah.
you're the one that's out there, like, putting your body on the line. Like, this is like, stop. Like, he just, I feel like if I can, Charles Oliveira, I feel like him and I sent him a meme of, it was like a meme of Oliveira's like first whatever fights, and he's like
Mm-hmm.
barely 500.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went on this run. Now he's the champ. Like I feel like he's going to be very similar to that. I'm hoping. But honestly, like once he gets his mentals right and like stop worrying about letting people down, like you have the skill, you have everything. Like every all his fights that he lost, what that first fight. Oh, he was beating buddies. It was like might have been fight of the night. We went 3 rounds, and he has a hell of a ground game that I feel like he needs to utilize a little bit. What do I know? I play football, but he pretty sure he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and he put Buddy to sleep, that Asian guy, with he has it all. He just needs to work on his mentals a little bit.
I remember around a year and a half or so ago, you pretty much guaranteed to me that when your football career is going to be over, you will become an MMA fighter. Is that still the plan slash dream?
My wife is really not going for that. I don't know. It's like that the athletic part of me, the me. I want to, and right now I know I'm going to train it, but it's really comes down to, am I being greedy? Am I not looking out for? Am I putting myself before my kids? Because my kids, deserve a dad that's not scrambled brains, and
Hmm.
so it's still up in the air right now. But I definitely I want to know I want that feeling of, I remember when I was at the Connor Dustin fight when he broke his leg,
Well,
but when they turn off all the lights and they play that no, no, notorious, like
yeah.
the chills, like that walk, like I need, like, the competitor in me. I want to be in there, and I gotta talk to my wife and get the okay.
I think it was Lee Smith who scored a touchdown and you shot a double leg on him back in the
Yeah,
day, right? I mean, it was
yeah,
pretty damn nice. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah.
Do you train actually at this? Like, I know you said you wanted to go to ATT, right? Have you
Yeah,
been?
I'm no, but and not to say like I'm good. I'm cool with Masvidal, and he's definitely like extended the invitation, and I've been over at MMA Masters before with Miguel, and did a little groundwork over there. Um, it's kind of like the training for MMA and football are definitely completely different,
Hmm.
and the more I got into MMA, the less I spent time on football, which could be a good thing and a bad thing. But like when I get into something, like I go 100% and into it. So right now I'm keeping myself out of there, just
Okay.
until I'm completely done. But I have Coach Henry, an hour away. That's like, hey,
Yeah,
you
he's
can.
like he would do any if you called up Mark Henry right now and said let's train at 3 a.m. Like, I'm a big Bills fan. He puts I mean, like, I would not even I'm not even 1/10 as big of a Bills fan. I don't know, like, I've seen him tweet to you. He puts up a
Yeah.
shrine in his house every Sunday when they play. He's obsessed. Like, that guy is legit obsessed.
Yeah, I talk
Um
to him a lot.
Yes, so he would
He's
do. You don't need me to tell you this. He would do anything for you just because you play for the Bills
uh,
and because he's just a
uh,
genuinely amazing human being.
yeah, he's a great guy. Yeah, he's definitely like,
Yeah, that'd be
hey,
sick.
he doesn't push it, but he's like, hey, I'm here. I'm very close. If you want to stop by.
Oh my God, that would be amazing. And by the way, since you're like such a proud Miami guy, I'm assuming you're a big King of Miami fan, Colby Covington, right?
I was at that
Dude,
fight, that
I know you were
Masvidal
sitting
fight.
pretty close.
I know. I got the UFC hooked me up. My boy Matt Perino got
Oh,
the
that's right. Yep,
yeah,
Bill's
he
beat writer,
hooked me
great
up,
guy.
and Coach Henry. He put in a word too. So
Wow, look at you. You
yeah,
got a bigger
I
in
had
with them than I do at this point.
a yeah. No, he needs to stop calling himself that. Before he might. I would.
Well, you were about to say before he gets hurt, but then he got jumped.
Yeah,
Right.
but there's a lot of Miami's a crazy place, and it only takes one crazy dude to not like what he does to for there to be big trouble. And
Right.
I don't want, not saying I definitely do not want that Masvidal Kobe beef. I mean, I'm definitely on Masvidal's side, but like that's not like I was at MMA Masters and Kobe was there, and like I wasn't gonna like fight him or anything. I
Right.
didn't I didn't I didn't say what's up to them. They were like, oh, you want to meet Kobe? I was like, no, I'm good. But like I'm never like that's not me. That's their business. But I'm definitely on Masvidal's side.
There's that loyalty. One last thing. Is there a fight coming up that you're super excited about? There's Izzy coming up.
Yeah,
There's
that I'm trying to get out to that card, the Izzy fight in
July
July.
2nd.
What, second? Yeah,
Yep.
I might be out of that one, but yeah, that card. Big Valentina fan. So she
Really?
fights in a couple. Is it like
Yeah, June
next week
11th.
or? Yeah, yeah. So my wife loves, like, I got my wife into UFC hard, and she's a big. She loves watching the women fight, so she's a big
Wow.
Valentina. She loves. She's like, oh, that dance she does at the end, I love it, and she just
Yeah,
whips bitches' asses. I was like, yeah, she's great. So I'm excited for that fight.
I saw your emoji speaking of women's MMA with the rose, like kind of like that. That was that was weird stuff, right?
I feel like, couldn't they just call it a draw? No one
Yeah.
won that.
You could have scored the first round
I
at
mean,
10-10.
yeah, like, I guess, like, Carla did get her down, but like every time she got her down, Rose popped back up. It was really, like, I'm a giant Rose fan. Like, I've been a Rose fan since the Ultimate Fighter, which is how I kind of got into MMA. Not her season, but one of the seasons. It was the season with Kimbo, because
I was
obviously I'm
just
a
gonna say
Miami guy.
the
Yeah,
heavyweights,
and
right?
then
Yeah,
watching Rampage, freaking
right. Smash
Rampage
the
on the
door.
door.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, yeah, like, that was the first. Like, I didn't even watch UFC until after then. Like, I was just watching. I was just flipping through the channels, and I think it was on Spike, and I was
Yep.
like, "Whoa, what's this?" And then from that moment on, I've been a fan. But yeah, that Rose thing killed me.
Yeah. It was tough. Very, very puzzling performance. By the way, did you see Frank Gore's knockout over the weekend?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Miami guy, Bill guy. Not bad.
I love Frank. I don't think he should be fighting, but
I
Frank is
agree.
gonna,
Why is he doing this?
because he's just he. I would, like, when he was at the Bills, he would be there at 6 o'clock in the morning working out, like getting a full workout in before practice, before anything. Like, that dude just knows one thing, and that's to work. And he's very competitive. And, I mean, you guys might be saying the same thing about me that I said about Frank. Like, why is he in, like, what, like, in a few years? So, where, as I think he shouldn't be doing it, I love seeing him knock people up.
Yeah. No, incredible. Especially, I know the first fight didn't really go the way he wanted to against
Mm-hmm.
Darren Williams, but that was amazing. This has been amazing, man. I really appreciate the time. I've always had a kind of weird feeling towards the Giants, if I'm being honest, because of the Super Bowl way back in the day. Wide right, Scott Norwood. I mean, that's actually how I became a Bills fan. I was 8 years old and I was watching it at my uncle's house, and I felt so bad for those guys. Thurman, favorite player, Jim, and I was like, this is my team. And then, of course, they lose the next three Super Bowls, and now I'm stuck with them for life. That being said, now because you're on the team and because I live pretty close to the stadium, I will now be rooting for you. You'll be my NFC team, and hopefully we'll meet you in the Super Bowl, and then all bets are off. I'd love for you to win, but if it's a, I'm just being honest. I just want that
not,
one. That's all. I just want
not,
that one. That's it.
we're not gonna lie. When I'm walking in the facilities, and I see, they have all four of those trophies up,
Yes.
and I see the one against the Bills. Nowadays, I'm just smirking a little bit, like, ha ha.
Would that be
But
the dream?
it's
Playing them in the Super Bowl?
no, that wouldn't be a dream. I mean, it would be cool. Definitely would want to win, but I would feel bad for the guys, especially
Too
when they
personal?
lose.
You'd rather just be some other team that you
Yeah,
don't like? Yeah.
yeah. I'd rather play them in, like, the regular season. Yeah, I'll, like,
All right.
maybe go, if I don't re-sign with the Giants. If they don't, whatever happens in the future, if I have to go to another team, it wouldn't be too bad going back or going to a divisional team that I can play them twice a year.
Right. Just not Miami, please, okay? If that's what you were referring to, that would not be cool. That one I can't do the whole like I'll root for you just because you're on the team. Miami for
I mean,
life.
Miami's definitely a hard sell. I can't deal with their freaking song after they score.
Yeah, the
It's
whole
the
thing is
most.
just annoying.
It's. But I do have a lot of. Anyways,
I
I'm
know, I
very happy
know.
to be a G man.
Yes, it's going to be great, and I love the connection to the Bills, so it only makes sense. There's so many familiar faces. Appreciate you, my man. All the best. Thanks for sharing a bit about your story,
So
and
always
thank
here
you.
for you, buddy.
Thank you for everything you did for the squad. It was really great getting to watch you play as a Bill. And thanks for rocking the shirt. You're the man. Please, when you walk into the stadium one day, feel free when they take the photos of you guys. Feel free to rock it one day.
Oh,
That would be nice.
obviously. Come on, I'm
All
out here
right.
for you. Well, I got a Thug Nose shirt too.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Thanks, John.
Before we get out of here, I just
Oh,
want to say, thoughts and prayers with the whole community of Buffalo. It's horrible what happened, and it's horrible. It's horrible regardless of where it happens, but especially like such a tight knit community and a great community that took me and my family in. Uh, I hate it. Ruined my whole day. Didn't know that happened, in Buffalo, and still thinking about them. And I love the people out there in Buffalo. So thoughts and prayers with you guys.
well said. We will leave it at that. Thank you, John. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Ariel Helwani Show. If you want to check out some of our old episodes, or if you want to stay up to date with all the great things that we are doing here, please do like and subscribe to this here page. Trust me, some really cool things are coming up.